Warm welcome to today's talk, Tuesday the 28th of December. I hope you had an excellent Christmas time. Now, data's been rather sparse, to be fair, over the Christmas period, it has to be said. But basically what's happening is what we've been anticipating for some time now, for the last few weeks now really. Huge number of cases so far transcribing into relatively low numbers of hospitalisations. And we're going to be looking at the UK and the US to illustrate that today. Now, I just want to start off with some fairly poignant data here from the United Kingdom. So 24th of December, Omicron patients in hospital, it was 366, 24th of December, just before the data sort of shut off for a few days. Omicron total deaths then amounted to 29 people who'd been diagnosed with Omicron with diagnosis. Data from yesterday, the 27th, Omicron hospital patients has gone up to 407. Now, this is in a context of, we'll look at the precise figure later, but about 8,200 people in hospital. So those diagnosed with Omicron in hospital so far, 407 yesterday, 24th of December, 4 days ago now, 366. So it's gone from 366 up to 407, and the deaths unfortunately have increased from 29 up to 39, but we don't know if these people had significant comorbidities or not. The number of officially diagnosed COVID Omicron cases are now up to 159,000 in the UK, an extra 45,000 on the day. But we do actually know, as I'm about to demonstrate here, that they're all Omicron now, essentially. So this is the graph for the UK as of yesterday. So the purple, of course, is the Omicron. The green is the Delta. And as we see now, the, what is that figure? 90%. So we're now 90% Omicron in the UK as of yesterday's data, which, of course, will be a day or so out of date. And the other thing that we do like to notice on this graph is that the length of that bar there, that is the number of cases of Delta. And we can definitely see that the numbers of cases of Delta are going down. That one is definitely smaller than that one, which is smaller than that one. So the number of cases of Delta are reducing as the number of Omicron cases increases. In other words, as we'd hoped, and basically as we'd expected actually, the Omicron is displacing the Delta. This is remarkably good news. This is what we'd hoped for. So another data point here is new confirmed cases per million people. So these are the new cases. Japan, we're doing an interview with a Japanese informed person shortly, so because we really don't know what's going on, but Japan still essentially zero. Australia, as we've seen, increasing markedly. People are now travelling more between the states. I think Western Australia is pretty well shut off, but we're going to see a massive Omicron surge in Australia, as indeed we are. We've started to see it already. Canada, Omicron surge likewise. United States, clear Omicron surge in the United States. And the United Kingdom and Ireland. This deflection in the data here is due to Christmas not reporting. It's not a genuine thing. So United Kingdom and Ireland leading the way in terms of new cases per million people. But when we look at the number of people in hospital, Canada again faulting the data there. Ireland up slightly. The United Kingdom, no two ways about it, it is up slightly. It's up somewhat, but not a huge amount in the UK. United States hospitalisations have remained relatively high for some time now, but I still believe a lot of this is not Omicron related. I think there's quite a big Delta hangover in the States, although we don't have a definitive split on that. Deaths, the United States have remained fairly high, unfortunately, over a long period of time now. Ireland, they're much lower. United Kingdom deaths are lower, very slight increase there, but I don't think we've seen any evidence that that's Omicron related at the moment. Canada, Australia, Japan, much lower. So just a bit of orientation data there, really, quite interesting. Now, I want to look at patients in hospital, because this is the critical point. This is the critical point here. Actually, we'll just look at the COVID symptom tracker data just to show how pronounced this is. These are people remote reporting symptomatic infections. So basically, nearly 2 million people reporting symptomatic COVID infections in the UK, extrapolated to the whole population. That works out at 188,000 new cases in a 24-hour period. It's just huge. And we can see the numbers there. This is the prevalence. So we're up to, is that 200,000? It's just a tad under 200,000, isn't it? That is the Omicron surge. And this is what we're seeing, to be quite honest, as we anticipated, around the world. But anyway, hospital data from the UK, all the references there, all the references are in the description. Do check them out. The hospital data. Now, this is for the UK as a whole. So we do see a slight increase, and I think we have to say it is a slight increase in the UK. This is just a slight increase, these daily in cases here, slight increase in overall hospitalisations in the UK. And as we said before, that relates to 8,240 people currently in hospital. That's yesterday's data. But of course, as far as we know, remember, of those, 407 are Omicron. So 407 are Omicron out of 8,240 people actually in hospital. So this is looking remarkably encouraging so far. And if it is the case that the Omicron is, well, I think we can say the Omicron is replacing the Delta, because there's less and less cases of Delta. So I'm hopeful that hospitalisations are going to go down as a result of Omicron displacing Delta. London is a particular epicentre. Now, in London, this is Omicron driven because they're about 10 days ahead of the rest of the country, perhaps. There is an increase. So there is some increase. So this means that in the rest of the country, we are going to see an increase over the next few days in hospitalisations. No question about that in my mind at all, but a modest one. The curve should be the same as London, and this is transposing to 2,640 patients throughout the Greater London area in hospital. So it's not a massive surge; it's a slight increase. And if we just look at the data's a bit incomplete, but there we see the increase in cases in the UK. So no question that those cases are increasing dramatically. Multiple data points are showing. If we can get the healthcare data, is it going to work? Yeah. So as we've said, latest patients admitted just over, nearly 1,200, 1,771, 8,240 people in hospital. But the trend, certainly compared to what we saw last year, we're getting nowhere near those numbers of figures. So these are patients admitted, slight increase in admissions there, but the number of people actually in hospital not going up dramatically. And of course, the explanation for this is that people with Omicron who are admitted to hospital seem to be kept in for a shorter period of time because they're not as sick. And we are not seeing the extreme stress on intensive care at the moment. Let's hope it stays that way. But at the moment, we are not. So the rest of the country is going to follow the London pattern. Now, this is quite an interesting story. This is from, I forget who it's from now actually, but it's, I think, my apologies, I'll check on the name. It might be James. But a testing site Upper West Side Manhattan. So Sunday he went to a local testing centre at 4 p.m. and they were reporting there that they're getting a 50% hit rate. In other words, there's a 50% positivity in Manhattan. This is just absolutely huge, and it does seem consistent with other data that we're seeing. So in other words, for every 100 people going to get tested, 50 of them are testing positive, indicating massive community transmission in Manhattan, for example. And they do say there that hit rates doubled each of the past 3 days. Sorry, it's not James, it's Michael. I've got the name written down here. It's Michael. Apologies, Michael. Sincere apologies. So Michael had very mild symptoms, not even as bad as a normal cold for Michael, which is very pleased to hear that, Michael. Excellent. Everyone who was talking to in the queue had the same problems because people have been queuing for tests all over the States. The testing kit logistics problem in the States is significant, as you well know if you live in the States. I tested positive and was surprised given how mild the symptoms are. So, but very wise to get tested, Michael, very wise to get tested. Slightly blocked up, feeling of being a little ill for 1 day. So delighted you had such a moderate symptoms. Slight headache, no cough or runny nose in Michael's case. This surprised me because I've been practically in isolation. So Michael lives alone and had only been to the supermarket in off-hours times. Now, a lot of people have been reporting this. They're saying, I've been diagnosed with Omicron and I don't know how the heck I got it because I haven't been out. It's almost like it's flying through the window. Now, I'm not saying it's flying through the window, although it is aerosol transmitted, as we know. But it just shows how transmissible this is and how quickly it's spreading around everywhere. So Michael's amazed that he got it and does take vitamin D, does take some zinc. And who knows, this may explain the mild symptom set. Indeed, who knows? But I'm glad to see you're taking vitamin D and a small amount of zinc, at least for a small amount of time. So that's the UK data there. Let's move on to some CDC data now. And again, well, it just speaks for itself, this huge surge in cases. And remember, this is in the United States, these are officially diagnosed cases. It's nothing to, well, this is a very small subset of infections. But this is in severe difficulty getting testing kits. So, yeah, there's a big surge in the States. But let's just see if we can see deaths on this. Daily deaths at the moment. Slight downward trend, which is good to see. Now, how much of that is reporting delays over the holiday? Probably some of it. But we're certainly not seeing the surge in deaths that we saw in the previous wave. At least we're not seeing it yet. Now, this is the next news story we want to talk about, the CDC shortening the time period. So isolation down to 5 days if asymptomatic is this. So this is from this report here. And again, as far as possible, we go back to the original references here. And of course, these sites are there. So this is not the Times told the Chronicle told the Guardian. This is all, as far as we can, going back to the sources of the data. Surprisingly difficult sometimes. Really is a problem that so much of mainstream media feel they don't need to bother telling you where they got the information from. They just say, take my word for it. Well, I'm afraid we don't. As indeed I hope you